Graduate school. My first real time away from home. The university I went to in Montreal, where I grew up, was one building. Theater in the basement, laboratories on the 11th and 12th floors, cafeteria on the 7th. We had a riot there in 1969. Students occupied, then liberated the computer rooms. The police raided the building and arrested over 80 people. It made the international edition of Time magazine. I went to school that morning, and a big crowd had gathered around the building. Computer cards floated down from the 9th floor windows like snowflakes. I didn't have to hand in my term paper on Alexander Pope. I hadn't even worked at a job yet either. I went to summer camps for 12 years, first as a camper, then as a staff member. That wasn't work. You had some duties to perform, but it was cool. Hardly a job. You always knew you were leaving and coming home. I spent most of my time in a canoe out on the lake, not racing, strictly pleasure. As soon as the waters got rough, I paddled my ass into shore. I went to Europe the summer after my BA. That wasn't so cool. It was very far away, and I didn't know what to do. I kept thinking of what I would do if I was with other people, family, or friends. But they weren't there, and I didn't know what to do by myself. I felt very dumb. I really did not know what to do, and I couldn't admit it to anyone. So I didn't talk to anybody, especially women. They all seemed to know what to do. Those were the only words in my brain. I don't know what to do. What should I do? I went to museums. I looked at the stuff and thought about doing. I watched other people look at the stuff. It was really doing it to them. They seemed transported, taking in all that art, broadening their scope, becoming better people. I looked at the stuff and became more and more conscious of where I was. I saw my reflection in the glass, and I stared at that. I went to plays. They were all right, but it was rough leaving the theater. Now what? I read a lot. Usually I'm a slow reader, about 20 pages an hour. One day in a hotel room in Geneva during the Fête de Genève in August, I drew the curtains and read over 200 pages in 2 hours. I didn't want to go outside. This was Europe, away from home, the grand tour. Anything could happen, the whole bit. I was supposed to get laid. I had never been laid yet. The girls at home were too mundane, not exotic enough, and their eroticism seemed tacky, unoriginal, like it was copied off someone else. The exceptions were unapproachable. I mean, they probably were approachable, but I couldn't do it without slaughtering. Bad attitude. So I decided to keep away. I figured one day it would happen without my knowing it, sort of, and by the time I realized it, I would be past slaughtering. In Copenhagen, this gorgeous blonde from Vancouver and I rented bicycles together and pedaled to Elsinore. At a roadside beach on the way, I stood over her to take her picture as she lay in the sand. She told me not to. She said she didn't photograph well. So I snapped one of the sand instead and kept a half a mile ahead of her for the rest of the trip. The next morning, as we left the hostel to go back, I saw her in the middle of a bunch of American guys who were photographing her like crazy. She told me they thought she was Danish. So it wasn't going to happen for me in Europe. Not this trip. Back in Montreal, I still lived with my parents. When I went off to graduate school in Toronto, I figured I'm on my own, I'm over 20, I'll get laid. I was in drama. There were lots of women in drama, but it didn't happen. I rented the basement of a house in the East End, around Pape and O'Connor. The basement had its own side entrance and a window looking out to the right front hubcap of the car parked in the driveway. My father bought me a stereo with headphones. That was crucial. I listened to Delaney and Bonnie on tour and read Aristotle. School gave me something to do, but I hated it, so I still wondered what to do. And I still didn't talk to many people. They all seemed so busy and preoccupied. Where did they find all these things to do? How did they know about them? At the Christmas faculty gathering, I had this flash. I have nothing in common with any of these people. There is no fundamental connection. It was a quick and deep revelation. Things seemed a little clearer after that. Not easier, just clearer. I made up my mind to finish the year, then split. No PhD for me. At home over Christmas break, my parents listened to my decision. They nodded, then said that it must be very hard work, and that I shouldn't give up, and that I would feel much better after I finished the year, and that then we could wait and see. The second half went better than the first. I knew I was leaving. I still didn't want to be there, but there was no place else to go yet. I figured I'll get involved in a play. I liked acting, and you could meet girls there, too. Actresses. They get laid for sure. I auditioned for a play and got a part. A powerful landowning baron. The play was Edward II by Brecht. A cast of 19 men and one woman, and she was married to one of the other actors. He was real good, too. Fuck. People my age were married. Sleeping together every night. Taking cabs to parties. Living their lives and doing things. We did the play. Mary and I were on stage at the same time during 2 scenes. We waited together backstage for 15 or 20 seconds every night and whispered how we felt it was going. The cast party after the last performance was at one of the actors' houses. It was a huge, beautiful old place in the annex he shared with 2 or 3 other people. Big rooms, high ceilings, long, wide staircases, tons of space. The party's on the main floor. Standing around and talking and possible dancing in the living room. There was a big stereo. And standing around and talking and eating and drinking in the kitchen. I don't drink. I brought some joints in my Delaney and Bonnie record, which always got people dancing. I was standing at the bottom of the stairs. Mary went by me up to the can. I watched her, then figured I'll go upstairs too and explore the house. What a neat place to live. Across the hall from the can at the top of the stairs was a room painted white with only a dark wood desk and chair just inside the door. I stuck my head in, looked around, then went and sat at the desk. It was quiet. I folded my hands on the desk and stared at the wall. I thought about what I was doing there. Mary came out of the bathroom and crossed to me. She asked if I wanted to be alone, then put her hands on my shoulders as she stood behind me. I said no, it was okay. Then I stood up and turned around. We held each other and kissed. Then we kissed again and started feeling each other. Then I thought, this is it. It's happening. And you're not slobbering. Then I thought, holy shit, someone is going to come in. Her husband is downstairs. Can't do it here. We came apart. I forget what we said. We sat on the floor. Mary leaned against the wall, one leg bent, one leg straight. She wore a gray dress cut above the knees and black tights. Mary was tall and she had long legs. I sat cross-legged, 3 feet away from her, facing her at an angle. After 15 minutes, her husband came upstairs. He said he was leaving. Mary said she'd be a while yet. He said, okay, see you at home, and left. I said goodnight to him. Then Mary and I made plans to meet in a few days after she got off work in the afternoon. Mary worked in the government buildings at Queen's Park. I got there an hour and a half early. I waited on a park bench across the street. This guy came over and sat down beside me. He was black and had a Bible in his hand. He started talking. Easy conversation. Where was I from? Nice park. People need open spaces to live right. He told us a beautiful place in the country where he went, which belonged to an organization he was a part of. I saw Mary coming down the block. I got up to leave. You're Jewish, aren't you? Jesus really needs people like you. His voice rose. Yeah? That's nice. I backed away. Excuse me, I've got something to do. Abandon Jesus and you will be abandoned, he said. Mary and I met at the corner. We took the subway and bus to my basement. Mary hadn't worked that afternoon. She spent the last 4 hours at the bar. It was about 5 o'clock on a Thursday late in April. We got to my place, went in the side door and down the steps. I drew the drapes across the window. Then I turned to Mary, held her, and we started kissing. I'm nervous, Mary said. I didn't know what to do. I kept thinking, just don't slaughter. But I still couldn't admit it, even to her. Don't be nervous, Mary, or you'll make me nervous, I said. She believed me. The cot I slept on against the wall was too small, so I took the mattress and put it on the floor in the middle of the room. We made love. It was sort of like I imagined it, only warmer. And busier. There was so much to do. Mary had to leave soon after so she could be home on time. That was a drag. All of a sudden, she was gone. We met a few more times, always at my place, always just before she had to leave someplace else. I got into playing records. The second side of Abbey Road worked well for us. Changing records was a hassle. A month later, Mary left her husband and moved back to the Midwest where she was from. After school ended, I moved out of the basement into a flat with a guy I met in class and got a job at Cole's bookstore, Young and Dundas. Amsterdam. Plotches, voorgs, dope, brogies, bikes, women. Burgundy red hair is very big with Dutch women. It's all over the place there. I stayed at a hotel called Mom's. Dorm rooms, steep stairs. Mom's a wired old lady with no teeth. She used to jive all the guests. Shut up, Mom's put you in jail. She had a son named Leo, about 45, but real childlike. He didn't worry like every other 45-year-old I knew. I bought a used van from Leo. He said he knew where to get these things good and cheap. He lived there. I didn't know nothing. The rest of the people at Mom's were students. Canadians, Americans, some Germans, a few young U.S. Army guys on leave. There was a Canadian guy there from the Navy, from the Maritimes. He was older than the rest of us, about 37 or 40. Beer belly, tattoos, thick black greasy hair. He didn't say much. He'd just sit by the window and drink his beer. We'd be stoned on the hash from soon after waking up. Mom served her last breakfast at 11. She didn't mind us smoking in the rooms as long as we were cool. We'd load up again from around 5 till 8 p.m., then hit the streets for the night. Go walking in the red light district, telling each other stories about guys we knew back home who came over here and had a real good time. Nothing ever firsthand. So hookers are still an idea to me. Storybook. Walking in the red light district one night, cobblestones, canals, neon windows with the women's faces inside them, all that shit reflected in the water, which doesn't look so dirty, and I see the most beautiful girl in the world, standing in a doorway. My first reaction is she's much too pretty. How can she be? Then I start to think, I got some time to kill, what the hell? The whole sex hooker thing over here is open. People go into these places and they come out again, and they haven't turned into filthy slime. The place is thick with tourists, they go right back into the mainstream. And the girls are nice. They're regular, not gross or vulgar. Some are a little costume sometimes maybe, but nothing like I was told to believe. That girl was so clean, so unsteady, and it wasn't just a little lost waif look either. She wasn't standing in that doorway by accident, but her attitude was right. This is all from 50 feet, but you could talk to her. She talked to you, take an interest in you, have a really great time. So I'm thinking about this for 2 days. But I said I'd never pay for it. What is this shit? This is a real world. Besides, it's not like that. It's not like I can't get it any other way. I just left a woman from Manitoba who wanted my baby. It's an experience. It's a pretty universal experience of that. Been going on for quite a while. I've heard so much about it. I want to see if it's the same thing as what I heard on the streets, in the locker room, stuff like that. It's not even that I'm so horny. I just want to see what it feels like. It's right here, right now, and I'm right here. But it would have to be her. Only her. She was unique. She lived up near the canal by the corner. Yeah, I could find it. So I roll 3 fat hash tobacco joints. I'm already gone. Sit back and wait for the night. I figure we'll smoke up first, get high, have a good time. Be neat if she had some music at her place. I want to get to like her, have some fun. And I'm walking through the shops and the bars till I come to the canals, and I'm going over bridges and making lefts and making rights, trying to remember something familiar nearby. Some landmark, Aunt Frank's house, anything. Nothing. And I'm going around and around and around, and I'm getting pissed because this experience is not happening. And I'm coming to a corner which looks like a 1. It's about the 10th one. And I tell myself, okay, she lives 2 doors up on the left, go and do it. So I turn and I walk past, and there's a short black chick standing in the doorway. And I walk past and I'm thinking, you do it now or you don't do it at all. And she's black, come on. Now, I don't have any particular black sex fantasies, but I know a lot of white boys do, and this is my chance to check them out. So I turn around and start walking. Holy fuck, I forgot about talking. What do you say? Hello, you'd like to come up? How much? 20? Okay. So she leads me up these stairs, a few doors away from where she was standing, into this room. About 6 feet by 8 feet with a 6-foot ceiling and a very short bed. Very wide, but very short. Damn painted red light bulb. There was no room for anything else, and she says 25, just like that. 25? Okay, I'm into it. I figure I'm here. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm gonna make it through. What's another 5 gilded? So I ask her if she'd like to smoke a joint. I forget her name. I knew it then. She says, no thanks, she's working. Minor setback. Carry on. Do it. So I take off my clothes. You want me to take off my clothes? 50. I've only got 40, and outside you said 20. Pants around my knees. A fucking farce. I had the money. I didn't want to blow it all on a hooker in Amsterdam. I still wanted to get to Greece. Now I'm thinking she's secretly going to signal some guy, Bruno or Horst, going to come busting in here, bust me up, take my clothes, take my money. Never mind this shit. Get on with it. Do it. So I got my clothes off and I reached for her. She came about to my chest. I figured I'd cup her head in my hands and kiss her. She says, don't touch her hair. If she doesn't want to get it messed up, it's still early. What kind of a fucking attitude is that? Now I'm feeling stupid. You gonna leave? Can't leave now. Don't be a quitter. That's what my mother used to tell me. Don't be a quitter. She sent me to a summer camp, modeled on an Israeli kibbutz. We had to clean our own toilets and have 3 hours of Hebrew instruction every day. I wanted out after 2 days. My mother told me, don't be a quitter. So we moved to the bed. But first she pulls out the safe, which is old and stretched, and asks me if I want to use it. What for? I thought everyone here was government inspected or something. This was before AIDS was invented. This thing looked like a plastic shopping bag without the handle, so I say no thanks, and she says okay. That safe was the only one she had, I think. So we moved to the bed, and I'm thinking this experience is not working out at all. Can't get too close, don't smudge her makeup, don't mess her hair, don't ruffle her dress. Just take off the goddamn... Sorry, horse, just kidding. Now I'm listening for sounds outside the walls. I'm not even going to be able to get it up. But she starts to touch me for a bit, guides me in, starts making noises, and pretty soon I'm doing my part. Except that every time I push forward, I feel a sharp rock in my groin. I look down and see her hand. She never moved it away. And there's this big fucking ring with a cut stone on it, bruising me to shit. I'm not here for this. What kind of a meaningful experience is that? So I said enough is enough, and removed her hand from my groin, firmly but gently, and got down to concentrating on completing my bit, which I did a few minutes later. I don't know. In her, on the covers, they were never removed, I don't know. I didn't care. I had done it. I had gone to a hooker and done my part. It's normal. So I lifted myself off the bed without touching her, got dressed, said thank you, and went downstairs into the street.
I think about sex a lot. I'm not especially horny. I'm worried. I often find myself alone. I don't feel bad. It just seems I'm missing out. I'm in my mid-30s, single, reasonable appearance. The only people I know who don't have sex regularly, or chase it regularly, or talk about it regularly, are confirmed oddballs, hermits, crazy, obsessed artists. My friends have steady lovers. They tell me I'm odd, but I'm not confirmed yet. I hang around my house a lot and read. In the summer I sit in the backyard and read. I take the sun, weed the garden, mow the lawn. What's odd about that? Lots of people do that. It's evening. I'm hanging around the house when a friend comes over and suggests we go for a bike ride. I enjoy bike rides with him. We go out, making up a route as we ride. We land up at a party across town at some friends of his. My friend's girlfriend is out of town. I know some of the people. I don't usually go to parties. I don't like the hype factor in those scenes, especially people my age, trying to convince each other what wonderful lives they lead. This party doesn't seem that bad. It's a hot August night. I'm exhilarated from the bike ride. I just finished 2 weekends of co-producing and performing a show I collaborated on. I still have no money, but that doesn't bother me tonight. I stand around and make brief conversation with people, not more than 3 minutes at a time. I think about leaving, either by myself or with my friend. I think about the bike ride home. I just want to stay long enough so I can tell myself I've been to a party. 45 minutes to an hour should be long enough without being rude. Other people talk in couples or groups. I don't feel left out. I don't want to join in. I say the wrong thing in groups. I make jokes when I want to be taken seriously. I don't mean to do it. I don't know that I'm doing it until I look around when I'm talking and see people smiling and laughing, and I don't know what's going on. Do they think I'm funny or stupid? When I try to be funny, people tell me I'm negative. I don't want to be negative. I'll be neutral. This woman I met once before comes up to me. She saw me perform. She says I'm really good. I say thank you. I look at her eyes and face. She has a big smile, lots of teeth, and a bright, alert look in her eyes. Her body is heavy. It doesn't seem too gross. We talk about the performance. She's making eye contact and nodding at me. I think she likes me. I think of more things to say to keep the conversation going. I don't like talking about myself, except when someone tells me they like my performance. I ask her about herself. She tells me all about these positive things she does. She's a single mother. She runs a fabric boutique on the outskirts of Yorkville. She teaches night courses in cooking. Sauces are her specialty. She goes to gallery openings and book launchings. All her friends are artists of one kind or another. She drives rented trucks to help her friends move. I'm impressed. I don't do that much. I don't have a steady job. I hardly go out socially. I have no kids. The thought paralyzes me. I worked in a restaurant as a dishwasher part-time for 3 months one summer. I can't drive a truck. This woman is worthwhile. She is not a dumb broad. She is a modern, liberated woman who is interested in me. Then I'm not a male pig who only wants a cunt to fuck. We dance to a few songs. I watch her closely. I like watching the way people dance. It gives me private information. I know it's not important. It doesn't really mean anything. I don't give these observations any substance in forming an opinion about the person. They're too arbitrary, not objective enough. I notice she suggests movement rather than actually executes it, even on the hot rock songs. I like that style. It's economical and provocative. Every movement implies 4 or 5 possible others. It feeds my imagination. She doesn't carry it off. She goes from one posed stance to another, sort of in time to the music. There's no groove, no suggestiveness. She looks heavy and fake. She says something about the Stones doing it every time. I lean hard on my imagination. I close my eyes and get a picture of a hippopotamus in a ballet tutu. Don't be negative, I tell myself. I decide not to notice, not to give my disappointment any scope, and concentrate instead on getting into the music by myself. What's more important, the fact that I don't happen to like the way she dances, or the fact that she does all those positive things and likes my performance and is showing interest in me? She doesn't excite me sexually or any other way. She likes my performance and acts interested in what I say. That's enough to hold me here. My friend comes over and mentions leaving. I'm ready. He's restless. I'm cool. I don't mind stretching the farewell. We go outside to our bikes. She joins us on the porch. She's good friends with my friend. She drove the truck for him when he moved. She and he kiss. She and I kiss. I feel good. I behaved myself at a party. I've done my duty. I'm not socially inept. Let's get together sometime soon, I say. That would be nice, she says. The bike ride home charges and relaxes us. We take it easy on the quiet residential streets. We haul ass and get a string of green lights on the main thoroughfares. I'll take bike rides over parties any time. Over the next few weeks, she comes to mind. I think about her dancing. I think about my words on the porch. I try not to think about her. When I do, it feels a chore, the completion of a task begun at the party. It's a 1.5 years since I last had sex. Maybe there's something wrong with me for it to have been that long. This woman doesn't turn me on. She doesn't turn me off. There's an absence of revulsion. Maybe I can work myself up to feeling attracted to her. Here's an opportunity for me to behave like a normal human single male in his 30s. Call her up, make a date, spend the night together, and see what happens. I call her up Saturday afternoon and ask her to the movies. She says yes. She just has to line up a babysitter. She'll call me right back. 20 minutes later, she phones and says she's having trouble finding a sitter. The guy I share a house with is staying home with his 2 sons. He offers to babysit her daughter. 7:30, she shows up with her daughter and a jar of pickled zucchini she made. She wears a pair of tight, shiny black pants and a bright yellow top, loose in a sort of triangle shape, and heels. She makes her own clothes. I react to them the same way I react to her dancing. Shit. You have to be a real pig to judge a woman by the clothes she wears. She made those clothes herself. That's more important than what they actually look like. We decide on a late show. First, she has to stop by the boutique and do something with some keys, some paperwork. It shouldn't take a minute. She says goodbye to her daughter, and we set out. The boutique is the opposite direction from the movie theater. We get on the streetcar. That's good. I don't have a lot of money. I don't want to give off a false impression. She doesn't mind. But I do feel a little uncomfortable with her. She seems so overdressed for public transportation. What's more important, my discomfort or the fact that she doesn't mind taking the streetcar? At the boutique, she goes into the back room. I wait in the shop. A teenage salesgirl straightens the merchandise. It's tourist season, so the boutique stays open late. There are no customers. The salesgirl and I don't talk. I wait for 20 minutes. I want to end the date. If her kid weren't at my house, I could just walk out the door. I poke my head in the back room and make a joke about leaving soon. She comes out, points something out to the salesgirl, then slips her hand under my arm as we walk to the subway to go to the movies. She does most of the talking. That's good. I'd rather listen. I'm afraid of what I might say. She talks about herself and her accomplishments and how much time it takes to make right what other people fuck up. I really don't understand why people don't take the time to do things right in the first place, she says. I nod when I hear the silence. I'm thinking about sex after the movie. The movie is about a Rasta who triumphs over evil odds. There are some good reggae songs on the soundtrack. There are shots of people eating luscious tropical fruit. After the movie, we decide to walk back to my house to pick up her daughter. I ask if she's okay walking in her heels. She says yes. As we walk, I put my arm around her. We kiss. It reminds me of early teenage dates, except we aren't teenagers. There's no excitement to push us past the awkwardness. The kisses are pure form. There is no increase in intimacy after them. Conversation resumes as if we hadn't kissed at all. Each time we kiss, every 100 yards, is exactly the same. There is no emotional momentum happening. My arm feels strained and sweaty around her waist. I want to remove it and not stain the blouse she made herself, but I don't want her to think I'm losing interest. I leave it there limp and moist, like our mouths when we kiss. I'm swimming in mud now. We are walking in one of my bad dreams. All my bad dreams are the same. An ominous situation builds, but I remain passive because I know that all I have to do to get out of it is wake myself up. In my dreams, I know I'm dreaming. But when I try to wake myself, I can't make a sound. In my dreams, I've been struck dumb. Nothing comes out. I can't wake up. I'm going to be consumed in a nightmare. I wake myself finally with frightened sounds from my guts. I wonder how much more I can take before I turn to her and say, enough. You leave or I leave, but this is over. Goodbye. We reach my house and stand in the darkened hall. I put both arms around her. We kiss for a longer time. I ask her to come upstairs. She says her daughter will be confused if we stay there. Things would be a lot less complicated if we go back to her place. I'm not turned on. I'm tired. Okay, I say. I don't want to cause a scene. This is casual sex between mature adults. It's often awkward. That's what I hear. The easiest thing is to go through the motions. I want to stay home and go to bed alone, but I want to see this experience through to its conclusion. Maybe it gets better. You never know till it's over. I call a cab while she goes upstairs to get her daughter. When we reach her place, she takes the sleeping girl in her arms. I pay the cab driver and follow her around the door to her apartment. She lives above a submarine sandwich joint. Her entrance is around the side. She puts her daughter to bed, then makes tea for us. I sit in her living room, waiting for the tea, looking up at the wall, thinking about post-sex. I hope I'll be able to sleep. Thoughts of lying awake, not being able to leave, leaving will definitely cause a scene. Waiting for morning fill my head. I want it over with. She enters carrying a silver tray with a navy and gray ceramic teapot and 2 thick ceramic mugs, one navy, one gray. She talks more about her activities as she pours the tea. I reach for the blue mug. She shows me a magazine with an article she wrote on sauces for summer foods. I sip my tea. She apologizes for the mess. It doesn't look messy to me. I put the mug back on the tray. We neck on her couch. I try to work myself up. I tell myself there are lots of people who want to be doing what I'm doing. Why don't we go to bed, she says. Okay, I say. She goes to the bathroom after she shows me where the bedroom is. I undress quickly and get under the covers. She returns a few minutes later and we begin foreplay. She lies on her back and opens her mouth wide every time we kiss. I'm all over her body, trying to find some skin, some scent, some position, some flesh that will arouse me. She tells me not to rush it. I tell her I don't feel rushed. The mud is congealing around my throat. I must stop thrashing around. I must decide. I pick a position, close my eyes, and hold it. We are both on our sides. My right arm is around her waist, pulling her body close. Her head and face press against my neck. I try to concentrate on the external fact that I'm having sex with a single mother in her 30s. Physical reality isn't doing it for me. If I think my situation the same one I read about or hear about from others, I can see myself as the regular sexually active man. It works. I become aroused. She tells me to come inside her and make love to her. I obey. I roll over onto her. There is no emotion, no excitement. There is only physical exertion. Her body feels flaccid under me. There is no shape. There is no muscle tone. I feel for something solid to grasp onto. There is only loose flesh. I imagine someone else, a single mother from the magazines. No one specific. I can't focus. I'm moving too fast. It's hard to be in two places at the same time, but I can sense relief just around the corner. I hold her head in my hands, close my eyes, and concentrate on the media version of what we're doing. I come and roll off her onto my back. I stare at the ceiling. There is nothing to say. I'm not going to ask her if she liked it. She must really think me an asshole. I want to leave. I awake the next morning. The little clock on her dresser across the room says 8 o'clock. She gets up soon after. She checks on her daughter, then goes to the kitchen to make coffee. I want to be polite, so I stay for coffee. She talks about how she wants to fix up her kitchen. I can't just sit there. I make a list of things to do today. It is Sunday. After I finish my coffee, we kiss and I leave. I walk home slowly. There is no hurry. Graduate school. My first real time away from home. The university I went to in Montreal, where I grew up, was one building. Theater in the basement, laboratories on the 11th and 12th floors, cafeteria on the 7th. We had a riot there in 1969. Students occupied, then liberated the computer rooms. The police raided the building and arrested over 80 people. It made the international edition of Time magazine. I went to school that morning, and a big crowd had gathered around the building. Computer cards floated down from the 9th floor windows like snowflakes. I didn't have to hand in my term paper on Alexander Pope. I hadn't even worked at a job yet either. I went to summer camp for 12 years, first as a camper, then as a staff member. That wasn't work. You had some duties to perform, but it was cool. Hardly a job. You always knew you were leaving and coming home. I spent most of my time in a canoe out on the lake, not racing, strictly pleasure. As soon as the waters got rough, I paddled my ass into shore. I went to Europe the summer after my B.A. That wasn't so cool. It was very far away, and I didn't know what to do. I kept thinking of what I would do if I was with other people, family or friends. But they weren't there, and I didn't know what to do by myself. I felt very dumb. I really did not know what to do, and I couldn't admit it to anyone. So I didn't talk to anybody, especially women. They all seemed to know what to do. Those were the only words in my brain. I don't know what to do. What should I do? I went to museums. I looked at the stuff and thought about doing. I watched other people look at the stuff. It was really doing it to them. They seemed transported, taking in all that art, broadening their scope, becoming better people? I looked at the stuff and became more and more conscious of where I was. I saw my reflection in the glass, and I stared at that. I went to plays. They were all right, but it was rough leaving the theater. Now what? I read a lot. Usually I'm a slow reader, about 20 pages an hour. One day in a hotel room in Geneva during the Fête de Genève in August, I drew the curtains and read over 200 pages in 2 hours. I didn't want to go outside. This was Europe, away from home, the grand tour. Anything could happen, the whole bit. I was supposed to get laid. I had never been laid yet. The girls at home were too mundane, not exotic enough, and their eroticism seemed tacky, unoriginal, like it was copied off someone else. The exceptions were unapproachable. I mean, they probably were approachable, but I couldn't do it without slobbering. Bad attitude. So I decided to keep away. I figured one day it would happen without my knowing it, sort of, and by the time I realized it, I would be past slobbering. In Copenhagen, this gorgeous blonde from Vancouver and I rented bicycles together and pedaled to Elsinore. At a roadside beach on the way, I stood over her to take her picture as she lay in the sand. She told me not to. She said she didn't photograph well. So I snapped one of the sand instead and kept a half a mile ahead of her for the rest of the trip. The next morning, as we left the hostel to go back, I saw her in the middle of a bunch of American guys who were photographing her like crazy. She told me they thought she was Danish. So it wasn't going to happen for me in Europe. Not this trip. Back in Montreal, I still lived with my parents. When I went off to graduate school in Toronto, I figured I'm on my own, I'm over 20, I'll get laid. I was in drama. There were lots of women in drama, but it didn't happen. I rented the basement of a house in the East End, around Papin O'Connor. The basement had its own side entrance and a window looking out to the right front hubcap of the car parked in the driveway. My father bought me a stereo with headphones. That was crucial. I listened to Delaney and Bonnie on tour and read Aristotle. School gave me something to do, but I hated it, so I still wondered what to do. And I still didn't talk to many people. They all seemed so busy and preoccupied. Where did they find all these things to do? How did they know about them? At the Christmas faculty gathering, I had this flash. I have nothing in common with any of these people. There is no fundamental connection. It was a quick and deep revelation. Things seemed a little clearer after that. Not easier, just clearer. I made up my mind to finish the year, then split. No PhD for me. At home over Christmas break, my parents listened to my decision. They nodded, then said that it must be very hard work, and that I shouldn't give up, and that I would feel much better after I finished the year, and that then we could wait and see. The second half went better than the first. I knew I was leaving. I still didn't want to be there, but there was no place else to go yet. I figured I'll get involved in a play. I liked acting, and you could meet girls there, too. Actresses. They get laid for sure. I auditioned for a play and got a part, a powerful land-owning baron. The play was Edward II by Brecht, a cast of 19 men and 1 woman, and she was married to one of the other actors. He was real good, too. Fuck, people my age were married, sleeping together every night, taking cabs to parties, living their lives and doing things. We did the play. Mary and I were on stage at the same time during 2 scenes. We waited together backstage for 15 or 20 seconds every night and whispered how we felt it was going. The cast party after the last performance was at one of the actors' houses. It was a huge, beautiful old place in the annex he shared with 2 or 3 other people. Big rooms, high ceilings, long, wide staircases, tons of space. The party was on the main floor. Standing around and talking and possible dancing in the living room, there was a big stereo. And standing around and talking and eating and drinking in the kitchen. I don't drink. I brought some joints in my Delaney and Bonnie record, which always got people dancing. I was standing at the bottom of the stairs. Mary went by me up to the can. I watched her, then figured I'll go upstairs too and explore the house. What a neat place to live. Across the hall from the can at the top of the stairs was a room painted white with only a dark wood desk and chair just inside the door. I stuck my head in, looked around, then went and sat at the desk. It was quiet. I folded my hands on the desk and stared at the wall. I thought about what I was doing there. Mary came out of the bathroom and crossed to me. She asked if I wanted to be alone, then put her hands on my shoulders as she stood behind me. I said no, it was okay. Then I stood up and turned around. We held each other and kissed. Then we kissed again and started feeling each other. Then I thought, this is it. It's happening, and you're not slobbering. Then I thought, holy shit, someone is going to come in. Her husband is downstairs. Can't do it here. We came apart. I forget what we said. We sat on the floor. Mary leaned against the wall, one leg bent, one leg straight. She wore a gray dress cut above the knees and black tights. Mary was tall, and she had long legs. I sat cross-legged, 3 feet away from her, facing her at an angle. After 15 minutes, her husband came upstairs. He said he was leaving. Mary said she'd be a while yet. He said, okay, see you at home, and left. I said good night to him. Then Mary and I made plans to meet in a few days after she got off work in the afternoon. Mary worked in the government buildings at Queen's Park. I got there an hour and a half early. I waited on a park bench across the street. This guy came over and sat down beside me. He was black and had a Bible in his hand. He started talking. Easy conversation. Where was I from? Nice park. People need open spaces to live right. He told of a beautiful place in the country where he went, which belonged to an organization he was a part of. I saw Mary coming down the block. I got up to leave. You're Jewish, aren't you? Jesus really needs people like you. His voice rose. Yeah, that's nice. I backed away. Excuse me, I've got something to do. Abandon Jesus and you will be abandoned, he said. Mary and I met at the corner. We took the subway and bus to my basement. Mary hadn't worked that afternoon. She spent the last 4 hours at the bar. It was about 5 o'clock on a sunny Thursday late in April. We got to my place, went in the side door and down the steps. I drew the drapes across the window. Then I turned to Mary, held her, and we started kissing. I'm nervous, Mary said. I didn't know what to do. I kept thinking, just don't slobber. But I still couldn't admit it, even to her. Don't be nervous, Mary, or you'll make me nervous, I said. She believed me. The cot I slept on against the wall was too small, so I took the mattress and put it on the floor in the middle of the room. We made love. It was sort of like I imagined it, only warmer. And busier. There was so much to do. Mary had to leave soon after so she could be home on time. That was a drag. All of a sudden, she was gone. We met a few more times, always at my place, always just before she had to leave someplace else. I got into playing records. The second side of Abbey Road worked well for us. Changing records was a hassle. A month later, Mary left her husband and moved back to the Midwest where she was from. After school ended, I moved out of the basement into a flat with a guy I met in class and got a job at Cole's bookstore, Young and Dundas. Amsterdam. Platzes, Voergs, dope, brogies, bikes, women. Burgundy red hair is very big with Dutch women. It's all over the place there. I stayed at a hotel called Mom's. Dorm rooms, steep stairs. Mom's a wired old lady with no teeth. She used to jive all the guests. Shut up, Mom's put you in jail. She had a son named Leo, about 45, but real childlike. He didn't worry like every other 45-year-old I knew. I bought a used van from Leo. He said he knew where to get these things good and cheap. He lived there. I didn't know nothing. The rest of the people at Mom's were students. Canadians, Americans, some Germans, a few young U.S. Army guys on leave. There was a Canadian guy there from the Navy, from the Maritimes. He was older than the rest of us, about 37 or 40. Beer belly, tattoos, thick black greasy hair. He didn't say much. He'd just sit by the window and drink his beer. We'd be stoned on the hash from soon after waking up. Mom served her last breakfast at 11. She didn't mind us smoking in the rooms as long as we were cool. We'd load up again from around 5 till 8 p.m., then hit the streets for the night. Go walking in the red light district, telling each other stories about guys we knew back home who came over here and had a real good time. Nothing ever first-hand. So hookers are still an idea to me. Storybook. Walking in the red light district one night, cobblestones, canals, neon windows with the women's faces inside them, all that shit reflected in the water, which doesn't look so dirty, and I see the most beautiful girl in the world, standing in a doorway. My first reaction is she's much too pretty. How can she be? Then I start to think. I got some time to kill, what the hell? The whole sex hooker thing over here is open. People go into these places and they come out again, and they haven't turned into filthy slime. The place is thick with tourists. They go right back into the mainstream. And the girls are nice. They're regular, not gross or vulgar. Some are a little costume sometimes, maybe, but nothing like I was told to believe. That girl was so clean, so unstudied, and it wasn't just a little lost waif look, either. She wasn't standing in that doorway by accident, but her attitude was right. This is all from 50 feet, but you could talk to her. She'd talk to you, take an interest in you, have a really great time. So I'm thinking about this for 2 days. But I said I'd never pay for it. What is this shit? This is the real world. Besides, it's not like that. It's not like I can't get it any other way. I just left a woman from Manitoba who wanted my baby. It's an experience. It's a pretty universal experience at that. Been going on for quite a while. I've heard so much about it, I want to see if it's the same thing as what I heard on the streets, in the locker room, stuff like that. It's not even that I'm so horny. I just want to see what it feels like. It's right here, right now, and I'm right here. But it would have to be her, only her. She was unique. She lived up near the canal by the corner. Yeah, I could find it. So I roll 3 fat hash tobacco joints. I'm already gone. Sit back and wait for the night. I figure we'll smoke up first, get high, have a good time. Be neat if she had some music at her place. I want to get to like her, have some fun. And I'm walking through the shops and the bars till I come to the canals, and I'm going over bridges and making lefts and making rights, trying to remember something familiar nearby, some landmark, Aunt Frank's house, anything. Nothing. And I'm going around and around and around, and I'm getting pissed because this experience is not happening. And I'm coming to a corner which looks like the one. It's about the 10th one. And I tell myself, okay, she lives 2 doors up on the left, go and do it. So I turn and I walk past, and there's this short black chick standing in the doorway. And I walk past and I'm thinking, you do it now or you don't do it at all. And she's black. Come on. Now, I don't have any particular black sex fantasies, but I know a lot of white boys do, and this is my chance to check them out. So I turn around and start walking. Holy fuck. I forgot about talking. What do you say? Hello? You like to come up? How much? 20? Okay. So she leads me up these stairs, a few doors away from where she was standing, into this room. About 6 feet by 8 feet with a 6-foot ceiling and a very short bed. Very wide, but very short. Dim painted red light bulb. There was no room for anything else. And she says 25, just like that. 25, okay, I'm into it. I figure I'm here. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm going to make it through. What's another 5 gulden? So I ask her if she'd like to smoke a joint. I forget her name. I knew it then. She says, no thanks, she's working. Minor setback. Carry on. Do it. So I take off my clothes. You want me to take off my clothes? 50. I've only got 40, and outside you said 20. Pants around my knees. A fucking farce. I had the money. I didn't want to blow it all on a hooker in Amsterdam. I still wanted to get to Greece. Now I'm thinking she's secretly going to signal some guy, Bruno, or Horst, going to come busting in here, bust me up, take my clothes, take my money. Never mind this shit. Get on with it. Do it. So I got my clothes off and I reached for her. She came about to my chest. I figured I'd cup her head in my hands and kiss her. She says, "Don't touch her hair. She doesn't want to get it messed up. It's still early." What kind of a fucking attitude is that? Now I'm feeling stupid. You gonna leave? Can't leave now. Don't be a quitter. That's what my mother used to tell me. Don't be a quitter. She sent me to a summer camp, modeled on an Israeli kibbutz. We had to clean our own toilets and have 3 hours of Hebrew instruction every day. I wanted out after 2 days. My mother told me, don't be a quitter. So we moved to the bed. But first she pulls out this safe, which is old and stretched, and asks me if I want to use it. What for? I thought everyone here was government inspected or something. This was before AIDS was invented. This thing looked like a plastic shopping bag without the handle, so I say no thanks, and she says okay. That safe was the only one she had, I think. So we moved to the bed, and I'm thinking this experience is not working out at all. Can't get too close, don't smudge her makeup, don't mess her hair, don't ruffle her dress. Just take off the goddamn... Sorry, Horst, just kidding. Now I'm listening for sounds outside the walls. I'm not even going to be able to get it up. But she starts to touch me for a bit, guides me in, starts making noises, and pretty soon I'm doing my part. Except that every time I push forward, I feel a sharp rock in my groin. I look down and see her hand. She never moved it away. And there's this big fucking ring with a cut stone on it, bruising me to shit. I'm not here for this. What kind of a meaningful experience is that? So I said enough is enough, and removed her hand from my groin, firmly but gently, and got down to concentrating on completing my bit, which I did a few minutes later. I don't know. In her, on the covers, they were never removed. I don't know. I didn't care. I had done it. I had gone to a hooker and done my part. It's normal. So I lifted myself off the bed without touching her, got dressed, said thank you, and went downstairs into the street.